Hello again, and welcome to lesson 27, where our very first lesson is writing question words. Then, thinking about sentences to put the words in. This symbol will be used as a reminder that you will be saying who asks the question and how they ask it. But first, let's take a look at the word words. I can hear W, I know which letter to write, but then I can hear but I don't know what to write. So I'm going to say or as my spelling language. Then we've got D and S, because we are writing a word that tells us there is more than one. W is W, or will be O-R, D is D, and I'm adding suffix S. Words. Our words are all question words. The first one is what? What on earth are we doing? What? Question words usually have an H written after the W. So maybe that's going to be our strategy for remembering to put that H there. Or maybe we are going to say wh at the beginning as our reminder. What? I can hear wh, W-H, or, and I write an A and then T. So I write the letter T. What? Then we will need a question mark when we get to the end of our question sentence. When? Wh, W-H, Another question word, so we mustn't forget to put that at the end of our sentence. Did you say wh? Or did you say when? And I'm going to remember the H because it's a question word. Your choice. Where? Where every rat eats is maybe your strategy with the wh at the beginning. For the where every rat eats. And where does every rat eat? Well, if they're wild and they live in a place where people drop food like pizza crusts, that's where they go to eat. Next word, were. And in our spelling story, were Emily's rats eating? That was the question asked there. Because they were tame rats who lived in a cage in Emily's home. And, of course, we know the answer. Emily fed them, so yes, they were eating. This is used as a question, but it doesn't have the H. So thinking about where and were in our spelling story helps us to remember both of them. And the next word, who. Who. White, haired, older. Like the very first Doctor Who. Which. Strategy coming up. Which hat is Carol's hat? Which. Question. Which one? Why? W H Y. You could use this strategy. Why yell? Question mark. And the last one is how. It has the sound ow at the end. And that is going to be in lesson 27's Writing Words 3. You've got a preview. How? I can hear h. I write an H. Ow at the end I write O-W. Even though it doesn't begin with a W, it is still a question. It just has the W at the end. So let's take another look at them. What? When? Where? Were? Who? Which? Why? How? Now let's write some sentences. But first, we need the title of our short question story. A future adventure. Let's write a future. And when we're writing it, that ch we tend to say at the end is T-U-R-E. A, and we have a capital A. Few, my teeth are on my bottom lip, so I need an F. U, and then T-U-R-E. A future, add, another capital letter, and then, where my teeth were at the back of my bottom lip, but I could feel vibration, and then ture at the end again. A future adventure. We have a group of people deciding on what that adventure is going to be. So our first question is, what are we doing and when? Speech marks. And you'll notice we've gone in a little bit. What are we, a little word spelt like a syllable, doing, and when? And I think we'll need to put when on the next line. What are we doing and when? We close the speech marks. And then we have the word asked. And our symbol for you decide who asked the question. And then put a full stop. Where are we going to? Speech marks. Where are we going to? Go. Where are we going to go? I wonder who says this. Do you think maybe they slowed it down? Where are we going to go? You decide for your wee story. Which park? We have a hint. I wonder what they're doing that needs a park. Which? And get ready for the next strategy. Speech marks and which? Hat is Carol's hat. Which park? And who asks this question? Okay. Why there? Speech marks. Why yell? Why there? And this is a position there. So, there every rat eats. And how was it said? As a really? Or excited? Why there? You decide. And you can also decide about the response this person gets. Were you listening? Okay. Speech marks again. It's somebody else. And were Emily's rats eating? Were you owe us. And we'll say the next word in syllables, because we tend to say listening, but we spell it listening. Listening. Were you listening? Might be the way it's said. Or it could be said as, were you listening? Maybe it's somebody that just came in at the last minute and wonders what all the chat is about. How are we all getting there? Speech marks and then how. We can hear, and ow is written O-W. How are we all getting? Get, and we've doubled the T and added suffixing there. And again. Although it has to be tiny to fit in that space. Who says it and how? And the very last question after all of these bits were discussed. Who can come? Speech marks and who white-haired older can come. And come is written a little bit like comb. Comb. Not the one you comb your hair with. That doesn't have an E at the end, it has a B that we can't hear. And again, who asked the question and how do they say it? Now, I've typed up the questions, which are going to work a little bit like a plan for our story. And to begin with, we have a line for the bits of information that you can put in. But you may want to put in a lot more. Sometimes you might like to put who asked the question before the question. Something like, she replied. Were you listening? Let's just read it through. A future adventure. What are we doing and when? Asked the person that you are going to be naming. Where are we going to go? Which park? Why there? Were you listening? How are we all getting there? And in this last sentence, you can see the alteration I've put in. Okay, so who can come? There. Now you enjoy writing your future adventure story using these questions, but with you deciding the who, the how, and any other extra bits of information you'd like to add. Thank you for joining me and enjoy your future adventure.